Going there today, all you YouTubers. So today I'm going to be working on the Lincoln LS again. Today we are going to be putting a heater control valve in because, as a lot might know, when you have hot air coming into the cabin of your car and you got the air conditioner on, or just hot air is being pumped in and you don't want it in there, it's probably a heater control valve gone bad. Well, I've looked it up and I believe that's what it is. So I have ordered a heater control valve, and today we're going to put it in. So we're going to have segments today of me talking, me working, and hopefully at the end of it, the car being fixed. Stay tuned and we'll be back in a minute. Again, here's a 2006 Lincoln LS, and we're going to be doing the heater control valve, which is, you probably can't see it, but is down there, right on the passenger side of the car, in the front of the car. Here's the new one I bought off of eBay, roughly about $40-50, I believe. $50 with shipping and everything else. At the store, they're going to charge you roughly around $100 to $140 for the part. I bought it off eBay just because I wanted to save some money, and because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this car, if I'm going to just fix it up and flip it. I kind of like it, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I'll be back. I'll have the car torn apart or some pieces torn off of it, and we'll get this thing going. Mil socket. I'm using a little 1/4-inch drive, or is it 11 mil? Sorry, it's 11 mil. Yep, 11 mil socket. So we're going to take this bolt off. Then we're going to pull the intake off here and right there. Pull this out the way. And maybe take this top radiator hose off right here and bend it back so we can get down in there and unhook that heater control valve. You'll see where I put the new bands on it because it was leaking before, and then when I did that, it just stopped working. Maybe I messed around with it too much. So I'll come back and I'll have it unpart. Intake apart, released it from the throttle body and from the air box. It's sitting right over there. We're going to continue to take our 11 mil and jump into that piece right there and take that off and fold that over. First, I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to put it up underneath the car to try to catch some of the antifreeze that's going to come out of there. Try not to make a mess all over the driveway. We want to make sure that the car is not hot too, because if it is, then all the antifreeze is just going to go everywhere. I just stopped it there for a little bit. Alright, there's no more heat on it, depressurized, and I'm going to start taking this apart. There's the piece. I've just got it kind of wrapped up. I took the bottom piece out. This comes down and goes back into the control valve, and I'm going to take them two pieces off there and then pull that sucker out. Right here there's a clip where the electrical goes to. It's a sensor that lets the valves open up and down and let you know when you're turning the hot air on what side and if it's hot enough and all that good jazz. So we're going to disconnect that one. We pull the red clip up just like this one here. You pull it up and I'll just wiggle it a little bit and try to get it to disconnect. I don't want to pull the wires out, on the wires, because the wires will come undone, or if they break, then you're into a whole heap of mess then. That's being stubborn. Wiggle, wiggle. Tell you what, maybe I'm gonna go down to that bolt right there. You'll see a bolt right down there. I'm pointing at it. I'm gonna try to pull that out, pull the whole thing up so I can get a hold of that wire and probably use the wire, get closer to the wire. So be right back, and I'm gonna try to do that so I'm not having you guys sit up here watching me. Piece of bolt out that was right there on the side. There's our clip that I was talking about. I'm gonna wiggle that out with a probably my fingers, or if not, a screwdriver. Let's see if I can get the screwdriver. Put y'all down. It's not gonna work. Sorry about that now. All right, so I got my two hoses up. There's one there, and the other one is right there. I dropped a little band down in there, but I'll retrieve that as soon as I'm ready to put it back on. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here and get the old one and the new one together. I'm gonna make sure all the inlets and everything is the right size and everything's the right way. You look at it, and where you're going to put this hose onto the new one, and then of course just plug the old stuff that's already on the car right up to where it's at, and hopefully this thing here will work like a champ. You know, pointers, when you're doing this, because this is all plastic, be careful when you tighten these little bands up. I suggest to change the bands out, you know, change out some new ones whenever you go back with new stuff, because the old factory ones, as I'm trying to find some, well, there's none really to be seen right here. These bands here, they'll get old and they won't hold as good, especially if you've been messing around with it and doing stuff. So I just go get me a bunch of bands from the auto parts store. I like to go to Harbor Freight and pick up like a 40 pack and put them back on. So don't tighten them up too much, and then when you go to set your electronic back in there, make sure there's no water inside there or antifreeze, or else it'll make it go short and bust your fuse out on your car. Then you'll be trying to figure out why it's not working. So I'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll see how she's going. When you're putting this in together, make sure that you got all your little bolts facing you so it's easier to tighten that thing up. That way you don't have to go up underneath the car or anything like that. And just make sure they're facing up while you're tightening them up, and it'll make it a lot easier on you. Got everything back together. I just got to give everything a quick wipe. Got the big radiator hose on, the small clip on the bottom. You know, just kind of looking over everything, make sure everything is back together the way it should be. Make sure everything is tight. You know, give everything a little snug. Like I said, you don't want to give it too much, not even with a ratchet there. I'm just not that strong with my fingers, so I use my ratchet instead of a flat blade or nut driver. But make sure everything is right, and what I'll do is pull the pan out where I got the pan catching all the fluid. See, we got a little bit of spillage over here, not much. Pretty much caught most of the stuff. It wasn't a lot. If you guys might have seen, I plugged up some of the holes with a rag. You know, I just do that so I don't have a lot of mess, and also it kind of keeps it from draining all over the place and getting all over the place. But you don't have to. You can catch all the fluid if you want, or let it pour out on the ground. It's probably not environmentally good, but yeah, put a rag in it, let it soak up, and it'll keep it from coming out. So now what we'll do is I'll put the air cleaner back on, the air actual intake, and I'll start it up and do the dreaded you know, purging for the radiator and the thermostat and stuff. And I'm not going to go over that because there's so much stuff on the internet about that too. But long and short is, take your cap off, pour your antifreeze in the bottle to where it comes up. Here's your little bleeder hose. You let it run, put it on high, let it run and rev it up to about 2 to 3 grand for a few minutes. Let it come down, kind of gets all the air bubbles out. And then after it's hot and you got all the air out, or what you think is all the air out, you let it cool down again, and then you get back in it and do the same thing again. So yeah, anyways, it's about a 2-step process. So we're gonna do that. I'll come back in after, just right quick, show y'all how I did it. I won't go through the whole thing, but so you can see start to finish, you know. All right, so we'll be back in a bit. Put right up. Nothing coming out yet, but that's okay. What I was reading, they say go in the car and turn the heater on full blast. So we're gonna put it on full blast. 70, 80, 90 degrees. Make sure both sides are up to 90. Some say let it come out the center vents. So that's what we're gonna do. Let it come out the center vents. Turn it right up. Turn the AC off. We don't need the AC. We're looking for heat right now. And then so we don't cook each other, put the windows down. Alright. So the heat is on. Don't feel no heat. It's starting to come through a little bit. Go on the outside and see what's happening out here. Alright. Let's see it moving. It's like an overflow bottle. So anyways, we're going to let it run a little bit, and then I'll come back and, like I said, put the cap on it, bleed it, let it come out, let all the air get out of it, and hopefully we'll have this little problem fixed. We'll see you back in a few. Coolant. You'll see the coolant bouncing around right on the max level over there. A little run. We're checking the antifreeze a little bit right there. Looking good. Here we are. So we got everything together. I've taken the little peptide valve to there. I'm gonna put some fluid in it. And we're gonna let the engine get warm. And then that way we can start bleeding it.